Coach, who took your favorite penalty in the shootout?
Literally actually no, I was gonna say Ramos, but actually I think it was Salah's. I think Salah's penalty was incredible.
You know what? Mute yourself again. Shut up. I hate you.
I'm going.
The answer was Vitinha.
I was really about to say Vitinha. The stones on him to do that.
Right, because you know what it reminded me of?
It was a terrible penalty. Guys, it was a terrible penalty.
It was an excellent penalty because it set the tone. It reminded me so much of Pirlo making Joe Hart look like a fucking idiot. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the midweek review / Champions League edition. This is your host, Deen, and as always, I am here with Coach. What's going on, Coach? How are you?
Oh, man. Italy, Madrid. That's what I can say.
Wow. The tension was unbearable. I mean, it's crazy because I don't really care about either team. My own concern was very limited to which one of these teams is going to make my life difficult in a couple weeks as an Arsenal fan. And still, it was the tensest affair ever. Because as Atleti played Real Madrid, it ended 2-2 on aggregate, 1-0 to Atleti on the day, 2-4 on penalties to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
This, Coach, I believe is what we call football heritage.
Yeah. When
Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid lock horns in Europe, there's only ever one winner.
Yep.
And we went through all that tense drama to get to the same result we always get to.
Yep.
What did you see? What did you like? What did you hate?
I just didn't like Conor Gallagher having his moment in the lights. That really, really rubbed me the wrong way. Really pissed me off, to be honest. Don't like him. Not racist, just don't like him. But yeah.
Proper Chelsea.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, like, to be honest, yesterday's game, which we'll get to, and today's game, just really lets me know, like, people talk about football dying and this whatever. When good teams meet, like, it's just the best thing. When two good teams meet, when two teams have each other's number and know how to hurt each other, and they lean into all of those strengths and weaknesses, it's just wonderful to watch, man. This game wasn't the best spectacle for the neutral, but to me it was a really fun watch because there was just a lot of, I want to call this game a desperate game. I think, like, it was a desperate game from both teams to win, basically, and a lot of technique went out the window, a lot of composure went out the window. It was a fight.
You know? Yeah, man, it looked like a Sunday at Hackney Marshes at certain points, man.
Yeah.
Just the ball just going back and forth, not a whole lot of quality, but all of us, including the people playing on the pitch and the 60,000 people in the stadium, knew that there was so much quality on the pitch that at any moment something could happen, and that's what kept us glued to our screens. That said, the game started and literally your boy Conor Gallagher went crazy. I think that may have been the fastest goal in Champions League history, I believe.
No. I think the fastest one was Del Piero, and the second was Gilberto Silva.
So this would be third then, or in the top 10 somewhere.
It should be in the top 10 somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, it was the first minute of the game, and it wasn't a great goal.
Seconds. Yeah.
Just like the game itself, the goal wasn't particularly great. But after that, I thought the first half was fairly even. From what I recall, Atleti created the better chances. I feel like Courtois made more saves you'd expect a keeper of his qualities to make, but he made more saves than Oblak did. And I feel like that pattern kind of continued in the second half as well, and that makes sense because of the game state. Atleti had the lead in this game. Real Madrid knew that if they got a goal, that would probably settle the tie. And not a whole lot happened. The pattern just kind of stayed the same between the second and the first half until Real Madrid had that one break where Vinicius carried the ball a little bit. He found Bellingham. Bellingham played a beautiful ball into space for Mbappe. I don't even know what he did to those two people. He vanished between them, and a lot of times when defenders foul an attacker, you think to yourself, that was dumb. But I can't even be mad at Longley there. No. Mbappe was so quick, and the other defender that was supposed to be protecting him got erased so easily that all he could do, and he slipped, he lost his footing as well. All he could do was reach out and grab the guy. But here's my question to you. We've talked about how the reason why we feel Real Madrid have sort of picked up is because the chemistry between the front players has improved over time, and they've established a bit of a hierarchy in that, okay, yes, Kylian is a new guy here, but he's probably the best player, and we should probably play for his benefit than Vinny, you getting where you fit in around him. It felt like, at least to me, Coach, given Vinny's history at this stadium against this opponent, we're talking about like racial abuse and just all the drama that's happened there over the years. Why did he volunteer to take this penalty? I feel like Mbappe should have taken it.
I think it was ego, if I'm being honest. Like, if we're talking about doing stuff for the team, I feel like Mbappe hasn't got no skin in this fixture yet. Like, he's just like, I feel like the best penalty takers are the ones that are not there mentally. They're just,
like Cole Palmer.
Yeah, basically, like they're just able to tune out any sort of emotion and just be like, it's just a penalty. I'm just gonna score it. Basically, just have that sort of mentality with it. But on winning the penalty, Mbappe himself today wasn't good. Nobody was good. I was impressed with Jude because I feel like he's just a grown man. He really is just so flipping mature, man. It's nuts. Like, he even had a go at Vinny as well for not like tracking back. But on Mbappe's moves that he did, yeah, there just isn't a player on the planet that can do that. Maybe on his day, and he saw a bit of it yesterday, Dembele. But even the way Dembele would do, it wouldn't be as devastating. I don't feel like it'd be as devastating or as violent. Like, Mbappe just he was coming in onto his weaker foot, but he wouldn't have known he was coming onto his weaker foot because of how confidently and how assured he was in beating those two players. Then, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah, and that's what it takes against a team like Atletico. That level of individual quality is what you need, because you're not going to get many chances. But he is probably there's probably like 2 or 3 other players in the world that can do that to Atletico defense and just make something happen. But yeah, I definitely think the decision to let Vinny take it was purely ego. He wasn't having a good game, and he wanted to shush the Atleti fans. That's what I feel like happened anyway.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I haven't really. I mean, we're recording literally right after the game, so I haven't really given it a lot of thought as to why I think Vinny took it. I do think he definitely has enough skin in the game at Madrid to do things like that, but I think you have to focus more on the moment than the history, and in that moment, he wasn't having a great game, and Mbappe just had this moment, and I just felt like they kind of undercut themselves by letting him take the penalty instead of Mbappe. You just got, hey, look at this fucking guy. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Sorry. Today's just been, a day. How's everyone doing?
Yeah. We are well. We are currently talking about Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. And I'll turn the next question to you then. What do you think? Why do you think Vinicius took that penalty? And should he have taken the penalty?
1, no. 2, ego. I mean, you know how they boo him a lot at Atleti. Like, there's that tension between those two, between him and them, right? And I guess he wanted to give it to them in a sense. Was just like, yeah, I scored the winner, and he tried it and didn't work out. He got lucky though that that Real Madrid's juju is strong, and they won the penalties, because that was a very terrible penalty. He should have gone to Mbappe. He's the one that got fouled. He's the best penalty taker on their team. He's a kid that scored a lot in World Cup finals. So
I feel like Jude is the best penalty taker on the team.
Could be, but
Coach, you're muted though. Okay, yeah. Put it this way: I don't think I've seen Jude miss a penalty. That's why I say that.
No, he's a fantastic. Even his penalty in the shootout was fantastic. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go and say I think it is Jude. The only other person I could think of was Modric, but I think it's actually Jude.
Jude's missed 1 because I heard a commentator said he's 4 for 5 with Real Madrid.
Okay.
All right.
But
yeah, or like fucking Valverde should have taken it. Somebody like that, like that's kind of how I feel about it. In any event, this was not a very quality filled game, so we're going to talk about some other things as well. I thought it's weird that you notice the reffing for being good, because generally when the reffing is good, we just kind of skip past it. We only talk about refs when they mess things up. Yeah. And I just want to give credit to Simon Marciniak, the Polish referee, that he's ref some other big games before. If you watch these games, you've seen this bald Polish dude before. But I thought he was fantastic in the way he sort of then let a lot of that whole La Liga diving bullshit go in this game. Like, every time Vinny fell over, he was just like, rise it, young man. And that went for everybody on both sides. He called it even both ways. I thought that was really impressive. That kind of thing stands out, especially given in a game where there's not a lot of quality and players are desperate and they're doing desperate shit constantly. So I wanted to give him a shout there. But let's get to the biggest talking point from this game. Coach, this double kick penalty rule that got Julian Alvarez's penalty rescinded. It was the weird. I don't think I've ever lived through that in a shootout. I've seen people take a penalty that got called back for whatever reason during a game, but in a shootout, I don't think I've ever seen a ref. Sure,
it did actually happen in the Pokal shootout. Actually, a few years back.
Hey, I'm just saying I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Of course it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. What's funny? Okay, the TNT broadcast, they only showed one angle. From the angle that I saw, it didn't look like he hit his other foot. It didn't look like he hit his left foot. Now, obviously, other angles would have shown. I still haven't seen other angles, but my whole thing is that are you really at a disadvantage? Are you really at an advantage if that happens? Because usually those don't go in. Players can't train for that. You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. If you could train and gain an advantage, but you can't. How can you train for that? Because even the other guy, Correa, slipped as well. If I remember correctly, he slipped as well, but he's one went in.
I thought it was going to be two in the same shootout. Like they would have rioted at that stadium.
Exactly. So I don't know if I like that rule, because how are you supposed to avoid that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially with a team like Atleti who, don't like really keeping the ball in the ground, so they don't care how good they keep the surface anyway. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a shame. That's even for Atleti, we like to troll them a lot because it is what it is. The Diego Simeone, El Cholo, terrorismo, all that. But this, I don't know if this is more brutal than actually Tosin. Is this more brutal than them losing the final, the Sergio Ramos final? That was worse, right?
I mean, you're literally right there. You're right there.
Yeah. They were right there.
I think at this point, right, losing to Real Madrid for them is just a badge of honor. It happens so much that, like, at this point, it's just like it is what it is.
As a former Manchester United manager once said, football heritage. So I don't know. I'd love to talk more about this particular game, but it wasn't a big quality game. And if we're being honest, this is the outcome we all sort of expected, even though we gave Atleti a decent chance because they're a good team. So. Let's move on to Aston Villa 3, Club Brugge 0.
I will say it's good to see Rudiger's celebration. That's the only thing. That's it. Rudiger's...
What did he do?
His little run. His whole entire team did it. Like, everybody was doing the run at the end. Like, Rudiger's little high step that he does? Yeah.
You know what? If you had stopped watching the game when it was over and showed up on time, you would be at the beginning of the pod hosting it right now, you prick. All right. Aston Villa 3, Club Brugge 0. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. Tosin, I feel like this tie was over before the game started.
Yeah, it was. And once they got that red card, the game was done. There's really nothing else to say. Marcus got a couple assists, but the game was done.
Yeah, this Kylian Sabe kid that dragged Rashford down. Coach, that was a dumb error, right? Like the Longley one we can excuse because of who and how it happened. This one I feel like was just a straight up error.
Yeah, I did catch a glimpse of this, and automatically you get that panic where it's just like, oh, it's already 3-1. If he goes through, then the tie is definitely over. Hopefully, I can get away with it. You're never gonna get away with it in VAR era of football ever. That's why, I'd rather players accept these sorts of if a player beats you or a team beats you or press or whatever, just accept it, because football is crazy, as the Real Madrid tie has shown today. Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I really hate when players make those mistakes now, because you're just not. They will literally take 10 minutes out of your life to make sure that they send you off. Like, seriously, they will sit there doing every single angle to make sure that they're sure that you're the last one or whatever else. So don't do those things, players. Just you're never gonna get away with it. Seriously.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're in an era of the game where refs sit around thinking to themselves, how can we ruin your day and everybody else's day? But this is the game we have right now. Real quick, Tosin, are you surprised? I mean, everyone was kind of sort of jealous of Villa when they brought in Asensio and Rashford after losing Duran in the winter window. But are you kind of surprised at the fact that all of a sudden Asensio has hit the best scoring form of his career, And while Rashford looks good, he's not the one scoring. He's doing more assisting. I didn't expect it to go that way. I thought it'd be the other way around.
Same, but I mean, Marco Asensio is one of those guys who, like, he will show up. Like, he's done it for Real Madrid, he's done it for PSG, but then after a while, he peters off. Like, he will show you like what he can do, and then after a while, he just goes back to just being handsome boy Miley school. So he'll regress to the mean eventually. So
eventually, and we will be there. We will be there. Let's take the hate train over to Lille 1, Dortmund 2. 2-3 on aggregate. As complimentary as I was about Marciniak reffing the Real Madrid game, I am fuming about how this. Like, I have no vested interest. Let's just skip to the main talking point here. Coach, go ahead. The penalty call on Thomas Meunier on Guirassy. I thought that was ridiculous.
I think the most hilarious thing of it all is that while Guirassy was on the floor, their goalkeeper, I think his name was, his name sounds yeah, I was gonna say Chilavert. Let me just call him Chilavert. Chilavert is a legendary goalkeeper. So how about that? And he played legendary today as well. This guy, he just put his arm around him and laughed like, yeah, this is like, he just laughed like it was almost like it's gonna get overturned. That's the impression I got from it, because it was such a ridiculous decision, and I can't imagine the shock he must have felt when they actually gave it. Like, football's a contact sport, and we've all said this phrase at least a million times in our lives. And you just can't expect to get a penalty for being touched in the penalty box. That doesn't make any sense. It was like Szoboszlai yesterday when I think was it, I can't remember. I think it was Marquinhos or Pacho that reached round and basically grazed his calf kind of thing, and he went down like a pile of bricks. You can't give pens for that. The same way you can't give a pen for like this today. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a coming together.
Yeah, and
it's a legit coming together.
And it's a shame because it turned the tie. On one level, Tosin, you saw the beginning of this game, right, where Jonathan David scored. We're going to talk about this so he doesn't get to talk about it, because fuck him. But get out of here. But Gregor Kobel, like, him letting that goal in was very Dortmund, because that's just what Dortmund does. But at the same time, there's a part of me, I don't know if you agree here, but there's a part of me that was like, well, one shitty goal deserves another.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. So I guess the question then becomes, I don't know. It's hard for me to be happy for Dortmund. I'm sorry. Like, that penalty just ruined the game for me. I feel like they got a favor they did not earn. I know they worked Chevalier quite a bit in this game, but ultimately, referees shouldn't decide games, because I think Lille were so shell-shocked by that, and they were defending most of the game anyway, that it just kind of felt inevitable that Dortmund would win the tie, And I don't think, based on the full tie, the full 180 minutes, that Dortmund deserves to win this tie. But they're going through.
I mean, Dortmund will get that. They'll get their punishment next round anyway. They got Barcelona, so.
Well, I don't know, man. Like, this is the weirdest Champions League ever, and I love it. But we say that every year. Let's move on to another game that we're not going to spend very much time on. Arsenal 2, PSV 2. This one ended 9-3 on aggregate. Coach, 7-1 in the first leg. Arteta rotated heavily. What were you looking for in this game from a fan standpoint, just watching it? Because you weren't even there. Like, you would usually be at a game like this, but you weren't there.
Yeah, I shut down for Ramadan every year, so I wouldn't be there. But also, what they were charging for this fixture, I'm sorry, it just didn't make sense. But yeah, what I was looking for in this fixture was more left backs. That's what I was really looking for. I mean, it felt like pimp my ride, but it was like more like pimp my left back. We heard you like left back, so you put a left back on your left back in your left back pause. Like, there was just so many left backs. I didn't know. I actually felt like Jeremy Corbyn was about to come out. There's like a special guest player or something like that. But yeah, overall, I was just hoping for like a good minutes from players that we're going to need in the coming weeks, kind of thing, like Sterling. And he didn't disappoint, apart from the fact he probably should have had 2 goals along with his 2 assists. I really, really enjoyed his second assist, because it looked like the Sterling of old, where he was robust, he was pacey, people were bouncing off him, and he put in a really good cross. The Zinchenko goal, however, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's a bias, but whenever like an Arsenal player scores a long range banger at the Emirates, there quite literally is nothing better than that to me in my life. as a football fan. Like seriously, like what can be better than that? Like even when it's just fantastic.
I don't want to hold you, bro, but all that goal made me think was, man, if only Arsenal had a captain that could do some shit like that. Like I don't know why we gotta put a refugee into the team to do something that I want to see every week. But the motherfucker that got the armband can't do that.
Yo,
like,
you're such
what are we doing here? Well, is this Arsenal or is this what is this? What it's nonsense. It's a nonsense. I don't like it.
You're such a nasty hater. I love it.
Hey man, I'm on that nigga's head until May.
I do have something to say about Raheem's assist. The fact that Tyrone Malacia got burned by Raheem Sterling in 2025 lets me know a lot about Man United's recruitment, because what the fuck was that? Second of all, why didn't this guy celebrate? Because he was on loan at PSV
for 1 year. That gimmick is just respect. Press F5 to show respect. Get out of here, man. respect these black bulls, man. Like,
listen, fellas, I hate to be contrarian about this, but I feel like in our current society, we've lost all shame. We've lost all any sort of small vestige of any sort of decency or respect that anyone wants to show in any context. I'm all for it. But it is goofy as fuck. And speaking of not celebrating, did you see Declan Rice's celebration or non-celebration celebration?
Yeah, so I think he might be chronically online, which is a good or bad thing. because doing stuff like that is hilarious,
bro.
But I don't know. I sometimes you get these footballers and athletes. They're human. Like in their downtime, they probably got like 12 different burners. They're scrolling and shit. They're searching their names and shit. So there's no doubt. Even in group chats, like his friends are probably sending him tweets in group chats and stuff like that. So there's no doubt in my mind he was fully aware. I personally love stuff like that because it's almost just like a middle finger. Like, you guys literally are pathetic. Like that's basically what he's doing. That's basically what he's telling these people.
Hey man, so. I need to tweet something about Odegaard, and hopefully he takes it into the group chat for the fellas, and maybe that'll fix that asshole too. Because pause on fixing assholes, but no Diddy.
You're going mad, honestly.
But I do think it's all the goals in this game were great. Go watch them. We don't need to describe them to you. But I do want to point out that it's hilarious that Raheem Sterling finally has a good game. He was actually man of the match. He won the official man of the match. But he also got a yellow card, which means he's suspended for the first game of the next round against Real Madrid. And he also can't play against Chelsea. So this Jamaican man just came to Arsenal to do PTO. That's like, he has no interest in actually working. He did one sprint past Tyrone Malacia, and he's not working for the next 3 weeks. I actually respect it.
And he
go on, Tosin.
He has no international break, so he's gonna be in.
Wait, is he gonna get called up?
For what?
There's no way he gets called up.
No, he's not getting called up, man.
Well, Tuchel knows him, right?
Yeah, Tuchel knows him, but I mean, you got more chances of calling up Saka with half his hamstring than Sterling right now. So yeah.
Oh shit! If you feel like that, I guess we'll move on. Tuesday's games: Leverkusen 0, Bayern 2, 5-0 in aggregate. Tosin, Florian Wirtz wasn't going to play in this game. He got hurt over the weekend. I'm pretty sure this felt a lot like Club Brugge versus Aston Villa to you, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to know how this game went, go watch the goal that Alphonso Davies scored. That really sums up this whole entire time. Just pathetic from Leverkusen. That's really it. There's nothing else to take away from them.
Yeah, I feel like the Kane goal was even more pathetic. I don't like the defending on that was. I mean, Patrick Schick is not a defender. No. But even so, between him and Lucas Fradeschi in goal, they should have cleared that ball, and Kane literally walked it into the net.
Yeah.
Like how from a set piece you let the opposing striker just walk the ball into, like, it was kind of embarrassing. I don't really know what to say. It's disappointing. It's disappointing that Leverkusen were this soft in this tie, I think.
There was one cool thing that happened with Jamal Musiala's dribble when he shifted the ball. I was like, oh, you're a rude little guy. That's what you are. I'm not going to call you a YM. You're a little nigga. That you're rude.
Yeah, I guess I would necessarily call it a standout because he sort of made his pseudo debut when Neuer hurt his calf a couple games ago, celebrating a goal. Man, Neuer doesn't realize how old he is, but time will tell him soon. But the replacement goalkeeper, Jonas Erbig, he's been capped by Germany at every youth level. He's 6'2", and he just kind of came out of nowhere for me. And I know it's been one game, and he conceded 3 against Bochum over the weekend, but I think he might be the one, because there's been a bunch of guys that have come through Bayern since Neuer has been there. Like, oh, he's going to be the replacement. I'm thinking of the guy that's at, he used to be at Monaco, now he's at Stuttgart. What's his name again? The German.
His name is literally just itching to come out, Paul, and I cannot remember. But he's come. We spoke about him before, and I just can't remember.
Yeah, he took the same career path. He came from Schalke. Bayern bought him, loaned him out. He's not the one. Like, he was shit in France. Hasn't been great in Germany. This kid looks like he has it. We have to see more, obviously, this Jonas Orbit kid. But, I'm rooting for him.
You talking about Nubel?
Yes, Alexander Nubel. Not good. Jonas Orbig, better. Which is a shame because Nubel looks like he's always looked like he had all the tools. Like, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, all that shit. But he does silly shit like Gregor Kobel did in the Dortmund game, So let's just move on. The rest of this match, after Bayern got the 2-0, the rest of it was just target practice. Leverkusen were trying to attack, open at the back. Bayern hit the post a bunch of times. Probably could have won this 5-0 to make the aggregate like 8-0, but thankfully that didn't happen. Inter 2, Feyenoord 1, 4-1 in aggregate. Coach, your boy Marcus Thuram, 7 minutes in, he called you a monkey. What do you say in response?
He's got shit braids.
He's got neck braids.
I mean, they're not as clean as what's his name, Sabitzer's from the Euros, but they clean. They clean.
I just want to go on record and say that he did stuff in that match that he's never ever done before in his life, and so he needs to stop all of that because he's busting stepovers and stuff and hitting it on his weaker side and hitting the crossbar. I'm thinking, what? Slow down. You've got. There's not one performance you need to be doing all of that, bro. That's not in your bag, bro. What are you doing?
He was out there looking like Adriano, bro.
Honestly, it didn't make sense. Like, he was moving vicious, man. Like. Yeah, shout out to him for real, man.
Yeah, it's the whatchamacallit, Inter conceded their first goal in the Champions League in this game, and it was from a penalty, so really it doesn't count. Jakob Moder on loan from Brighton to Feyenoord converted the penalty. Chanaloglu gave it away, very silly penalty to give away. Not anything like the ones we've complained about today already. This one was just a dumb one. That said, he redeemed himself by converting a penalty later in the game to give Inter the 2-1 lead. The Taremi, I'm calling it a dive.
He did. He dove.
It was a dive, right?
Yeah. I do have some good news for Coach, though. This is going to make him happy. Robin Van Persie's balding. When you saw him walking the end, you could see him balding. So I know that probably makes you happy.
Yeah. God don't like ugly or little boy or little boys that reside in Manchester. Or want to reside in Manchester. I don't know, but I just want to say that if there's someone I do dislike more than Marcus Thuram, it's probably Taremi.
I'm not a fan.
I've never ever liked him ever. I don't. But you know what? I just don't get like. Do you know? Because he's serviceable, right?
Is he though?
But how are you one of the rotation strikers at Inter Milan? Surely they can do better than that.
They can't. They don't have money. They got him on a free.
He sucks, man.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. He's so slow. Like, he makes Marcus Thuram look like Jonathan David. Tosin, Inter face Bayern in the quarters. Who you got?
Oof. Lord, I'm going to go with Bayern just because Michael Olise. Just because of Michael Olise and Jamal Musiala. That's the only reason why, but...
I like the logic.
I'll be real with you, yeah. I think that's a terrible matchup for Bayern, because Simeone is more than happy to stink it up all the way to penalties. Sorry, Simone Inzaghi, my bad, yeah. He's more than happy to stink it up all the way to penalties, or just who plays home second? Is it?
I'll tell you right now, Bayern's at home first.
Okay, so yeah, he's going to take a 0-0 at the Allianz, 100%. He doesn't care about all that, and then at the San Siro, he's going to stink out the joint, all for a nasty 1-0. I just think, I genuinely do think Company is gonna have to get lucky, because for all of Bayern's attacking talent, I still don't trust him to be able to get his players to break that team down. No, not even that. Whatever avenues Musiala is going to create through the middle through his dribbling, there's going to be 50 interplayers waiting for him. Then when they get out wide, you're gonna have a Sherby, you're gonna have Bastoni like defending like in the air, like it's just gonna be, they're gonna have to hope for an early goal to score first. If they don't score first, Bayern are going out 100%. I'm that confident.
And we will be there. Forza Nerazzurri. All right, we go over to the Montjuic where Barcelona beat Benfica 3-1. Tosin, this was obviously yours because you are so obsessed with youth. I don't really get it. You know, you're getting old and you're gonna die someday. So, but go ahead and say nice things about your boy Lamine Yamal, the G Unit soldier.
Oh, listen, man. We've seen a lot of talented teenagers in sports in our lives, in our old lives, and he's up there with some of the greatest. Like talking about Serena, LeBron, Mike Tyson. Like he's up there. Like that goal he scored, right? It was so casual. It was like, what the like. It's like, oh, I've done this before. Then his assist. I think the thing about the assist to the first one to Rafinha, right? The thing that blew my mind was the weight of the pass. Was just like, you shouldn't be doing this at 17 years old. This makes no sense to me whatsoever. Incredible player. But that's all I got to say about him, that he's just incredible. Gavi, Pedri, all them Idris, they're just great. Them little niggas in the midfield are great. And that's really it.
Coach, we're going to talk a little more Ballon d'Or when we get to the end of the pod to talk PSG Liverpool. But if you're ranking a top 5, where is Rafinha in that top 5 right now?
He's in the top 3 easily, and easily in the top 3.
And is he
put like this, yeah?
Or 1?
Pardon, sir?
Is he 3 or 1?
He's right now. He's arguably on par with Mo Salah, I'd say, which would be number 1, arguably. I'll tell you what as well. I think he needs 5 more goals to equal CR7's all-time record of 17
in one
campaign
of the Champions League.
In Champions League. Yeah. So he's.
I got a question for you guys. You know which Brazilian has scored the most ever goals in Champions League, like in a single season?
In a single season, it is, if I remember correctly, Firmino.
Nope, it's Rafinha with 11.
Oh, Rafinha now.
Yeah, I think I saw something about him matching OG Ronaldo as far as goals for the club as well. You know, so I think they're both at like 47 or 48 or something like that. So
there we go.
It's having a fantastic season.
I will say that what I really like about Rafinha is because he came up under most people's attention in the Premier League. I'd say obviously he was doing a madness at Rennes, but
Lisbon.
But he came up playing like on the right hand side, obviously and coming on his dominant foot. But a lot of his best performances this season have come from playing wide on the left or playing through the middle and going wide basically onto his stronger side. And it's much more traditional. It's I wouldn't call it an eyesore, but it's awkward to my eye because I'm so used to not seeing that. And his goal exemplified that. Like he drilled it across the goalkeeper on his stronger side. That is, it was a fantastic finish. And he's probably between him and Yamal. Like I can't tell you who's got a sweeter left foot. I think they're both. I think it's pick your poison with either of them.
Yeah, and Benfica definitely got poisoned, and they died. And they died in the first half because the second half was just a bleep test exercise for everybody. Like, not a whole lot happened. The coaches got some players some minutes, and that was that about that. Barcelona advance. And in the final fixture, the hit watch of the century, Liverpool 0, PSG 1, 1-4 on penalties. Luis Enrique reacted to this game by saying the first game belonged to Alisson, while the second game belonged to Gianluigi Donnarumma. How true do you think that is, Tosin?
I mean, they went to penalties, and ain't a motherfucker better in penalties than Gigi Donnarumma, right? Ain't nobody better than him. I mean, in goal, he's not that good, but when it comes to penalties, he's Superman. So,
well, can I just say, is it because when he stretches his arms out, he's quite literally 10 foot? Is that what it is? Yeah.
No,
so,
I don't think that's
so
it. I think it's because he's the god of England. Every time he pulls up in England, he fucks someone's days up, you know. And he did it to one of my boys once. We're not gonna get into all that today, but But I mean, it's got to be intimidating to see a 10-foot Italian just talking about I go got the pasta and the netta and like, bro, I'd be scared too, man. I'll be honest with you, man. I never missed a penalty my whole life, but Donnarumma would definitely make me shit myself. He's huge. He's huge. Like,
And he's golden.
imagine looking at Allison try to save a penalty, then Donnarumma comes in and you're like, whoa. He's just big. He's just a big guy, big and agile. And he was good throughout the game as well, I thought.
I will say okay, again, I'm spoilt, but seeing how he reacts to crosses, compare that to David Raya, I just think, what is, like, he didn't catch anything yesterday. He punched everything.
But I respect
that made me nervous.
But I do respect how aggressive he was. Because when you look at that PSG team, they're little. Like, you got Fabian Ruiz, you got maybe that William Pacho guy. Marquinhos is not the biggest. He's very good, but he's not the biggest. That's it for tall guys there. So I liked how aggressive he was coming off his line, but I really wish he would have caught a couple of them. But then again, it's good to know your weaknesses. So he just went for the punch every time, and it worked out for them yesterday. That's it. Let's go back to the beginning of the game. I felt like Arne Slot has generally been good tactically this season, Tosin, but especially when he's making changes mid-game.
Yeah.
But I felt like Liverpool kind of got, we saw this in the first leg, the way PSG dominated them, but I feel like they never really, throughout the 180 plus minutes, if you add in extra time, they never really got to grips with PSG's false nine system at all. What does that say about Slot? Like, he had 2 chances at this.
I thought he was about to say something. I thought you wanted to say something.
No, he's muted. He doesn't get to talk right now. Let me double mute that nigga.
I think it just really shows that to run at them niggas. That's really it. Like, they didn't really know how to deal with Dembele, and he was doing the pressing too. Like, he was leading that press, and it confused the shit out of them. They were just they couldn't deal with it at all. And I think the tactical thing that I love that Enrique does is that you have, Dembele just as that false nine and just like go crazy. That's it. Just do what you want to do. Okay, we'll find you and just do what you want to do.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most refreshing things, that their front three basically are all wide players, basically by trade. They're all wide players, and I say it all the time. The best currency in football, especially in your front line, is having 1v1 specialists, because, again, the formula goes, if you're able to dribble, you beat one player, somebody else has to come out to you. That means that space vacated, basically. So you now have a numerical advantage. And put it like this: while Dembele was doing whatever he wanted, every single one of their starting front three all played up front at one point yesterday, and they all played wide at one point. And as someone that's played against an attack like that before, I absolutely hate it, because whoever's near me, I'm kicking first, and I don't care. But then I'm thinking, I might have kicked you before. Well, have I kicked you? Like, I'm confused. I need to know how hard I can kick you before I get booked, basically, because you get tickings off and whatnot. So I'm just thinking, but yeah, the goal itself came from, to my estimations, even the whole game pretty much. I think Slot is big on the psychological side of the game, and I think he was hoping that PSG would be a lot scareder of Mo Salah than they were last week. And he was, I know, right? And he was probably hoping that if we can pen them in, which they did for the first 10-15 minutes, if we can pen them in, kind of thing, they will buckle eventually, and they won't leave players up front to cheat. And then Patro found a pass that travelled like 2 miles per hour into midfield that allowed Dembele to come deep and then drive at their defence, because they were I feel like they were overconfident at that time. It was literally one defence midfielder and their 4 defenders against their whole attack, and I think Neves backing them up, and that's never good when you're running back towards your own goal. And I feel like that was a pattern every single time. Liverpool was like, yeah, we got Mo Salah, and Saboz's like obviously trying to plug gaps, and PSG were like, okay, we can actually do this. Is this what you want to do, basically?
Honestly, I know I started that whole line of conversation with sort of like a question of Slot's tactical approach here, but sometimes I feel players, especially when you're getting paid, 350K a week, there's something called taking the initiative. Like, there's no reason why. Like, Liverpool had extra men in their back line on that goal. So why couldn't one of them just go with the attacker that was dropping deep into midfield where all the space was? Just go with them. You got 3-4 guys behind you. Like, if you stop the attack in midfield, then we're not talking about you losing the game at all. So I want to blame the manager because we always pretend as if managers have more power over these situations than they do. But I'm really putting that on Konate and Van Dijk. One of them should have gone with Dembele, like, because it's not that scary. He's not physically imposing. He might turn you, but you got 3 guys behind you to back you up. So I didn't understand that.
It's never going to be Van Dijk, and you know why.
That's
you know
aura.
exactly.
You got an aura there.
Yeah, it's never ever going to be him. Like, ever. He's never coming out of his comfort zone. Like,
Well,
I respect it. I actually
it worked
respect
for
it.
him. It worked for him.
Yeah. But I will say one more thing on just Enrique, I suppose. He told journalists last week that, we're gonna do it, we're gonna win, and I don't think he was saying that for the cameras. I genuinely felt as if he knew that, okay, we have to continue, basically, we have to continue believing in ourselves, kind of thing. But also what else he done, I think, was, if you look at the composition of their midfield compared to what they started against us and what they started against Liverpool,
Us being Arsenal.
Arsenal, sorry. They started Warren Zaya, Emery, Neves, and Vitinha, right? Vitinha was decent at Emirates, by the way. But what he's done over the 2 legs was he played every single midfield role, similar to how the front 3 played every single attacking role, kind of thing. But he was the key, because he would go and press, but then he'd be getting the ball off Marquinhos. Then I think he had something stupid like 100 and something carries over both legs. I'm going to need to see the stat again, but he was the key. And Liverpool tried to get Szoboszlai to press him or whatnot. They tried to get Gravenberch to plug the gaps. Didn't help at all. He was the key.
Yeah, they weren't getting out of Vitinha or João Neves. The only person that was giving them something in that game was Fabian Ruiz, who was shockingly bad in that game. And the minute he went off, they improved. Not that they were bad when he was on the pitch, but he was not helping.
Yeah.
Tosin, respond to this statement. Mo Salah being the only Liverpool player to score his penalty is a perfect metaphor for Liverpool's entire season.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to talk about Mo Salah and the fact that Nuno Mendes played him like every African left back does in AFCON.
He saw the tapes. Like, he literally saw the tapes and just channeled his inner Angola. Yeah. But Nuno Mendes also said that Saka was the hardest player he's played against as well. That has nothing to do with anything. I just thought I'd let you people know that. But, he literally said that Saka's the hardest one he's played against.
It has everything to do with everything.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, dark skin unity is important.
I also will say something that made me laugh, too, was the fact that, like, somebody yesterday was saying how, Luis Enrique has always been the to superior Spanish midfielder, not some water carrier who ended up at Brescia.
Hey, man. Hey, listen, man. Pep will tell you, like, he was good, but he was only so good. Luis Enrique was a better player than Pep. Like,
yeah,
that's not even like a diss. That's just a fact.
Yeah, and also we all saw Luis Enrique cry against Nigeria. So
yeah, there's that. Pep didn't even make it off the bench to cry. Stock rising, stock falling for this tie. Stock rising, we've done Donnarumma. Alisson was fantastic throughout the tie, even conceding the goal yesterday. Kvaratskhelia was really good, but I feel like he shoots too hard. Like I felt like he could have scored so many goals in this tie if he just took like 10% off that shit. Nuno Mendes, obviously. Dembele was fantastic. Hakimi was pretty good. We don't talk about him that often, but he was pretty good.
I think yesterday he was fantastic.
He was great. He was great.
Yeah. Fellas with me.
Especially after he got the armband on. He was really noticeable at that point. I was like, damn, he's still running? Damn. So there was that. But I went through all those names to tee this one up for you, Tosin. Your boy Desiree Doué came off the bench, and I mean, we know about him because we do this every week.
Yep.
But man, I mean, I'm not going to compare him to Lamar yet, but there's something very unique about his game. I feel like of all the wingers and tricky players on the planet right now, the ball sticks to him the most. Am I overrating this?
No, you're not. Do you know who his favorite player is ever? Neymar.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I can see
Yeah,
that. I can see that.
Desiree Doué he's exactly what it looks like. Like he made me like what because I tweeted yesterday. I was like, we really need to see him come off the bench like that. And when we saw him immediately, it was just like, yo, the ball doesn't move away from him. Like he knows when to pass, when to move, when to dribble, when not to dribble. Like this is exactly what it looks like.
And he should have scored.
Should
He should have scored. He was really good. Like that was a hell of a cameo. You just kind of need to score a goal to really make it. And shout out to him scoring the final penalty as well. Less of a shout out for the Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, Trey Young, 8-pin celebration he did afterwards. Like, come up with your own shit, man. Like, come on.
He's light skinned, man. It's not his fault.
Well, I think an important thing to note here is that it's that celebration has been done in the Champions League before Cole Palmer's actually touched the Champions League with Chelsea. So I think that's important to note as well. Twice. So in fact, no, 3 times. Is it 3 times?
Yeah.
No, it was Morgan Rogers and Do It. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's twice. Yeah, I think that's important to know, guys.
I do want to add one more thing. We have been saying Doué's name on this podcast before he joined PSG. We were talking about him when he was at Rennes because we've always said this boy is special, and he's shown exactly what it looks like. So, as I do want to shout out Zaire Emery. He looked very comfortable when he came on the pitch. He looked very, very comfortable.
Yeah,
I just realized they've got everyone. It's like I keep they even brought on Kang. Like I don't what like yeah. Stupid squad.
I think that's the thing. Like people hate to admit this, and I'm gonna admit it as well because I feel the same way. But this is a very PSG over the years, even when they had Neymar and Messi and Mbappe, like they were hard to like because we know how they came to be. We know that it's sports washing. We know that they run their league. We know that the guy that owns them owns the broadcaster for the league, and that's a conflict of interest. We just pretend it doesn't exist because we like football. But despite all of that, this Luis Enrique team is very likable to me. I like them a lot.
Yes.
Obviously I have a vested interest in rooting against Liverpool because fuck them. But I found myself really wanting PSG. Like I felt like this is good for the game. Like a team like this winning is good for the sport. Like I actually think the weakest part of their team is their defense.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because their midfield and attacker are so good that it doesn't matter.
You know what's the wildest thing? Konate got linked to PSG today. Konate apparently wants to go to PSG. He keeps saying that's where he wants to go.
Damn.
I don't blame him, but it's crazy because Van Dijk was getting chatted up by Kelefi.
Yeah. It's wild, bro. Like you come to our stadium, you beat us, you kill the Anfield aura. Hakimi plants a flag in the middle of the pitch after the game. Shocking. That would never happen at my stadium. I'm just saying. Yeah.
By the way, Kelefi, the guy we just mentioned, right? One of the scariest people I've ever seen in my life. I saw him at the PSG store opening, and this man looks like he looks like he knows some secrets that
he might have stepped over some dead bodies.
He looks like the guy that runs the FBI right now.
Yeah.
That's who the fuck he looks like, But I ain't gonna go much further than that because I don't want to disappear yet. I got shit to do in America, namely your daughters. Anyway, before we wrap this up, we have to admit that PSG throughout this tie, they should have won it easily. They out XG'd Liverpool by a mile. That lack of efficiency, we've seen them show it in Ligue 1 as well, even though they're running that league. Is that what's going to cost them at the end of the day?
It's the Achilles heel for sure. And I was about to tweet yesterday that he doesn't rate Goncalo Ramos, and then he brought him on. But yeah,
great penalty, by the way.
Yeah.
Coach, who took your favorite penalty in the shootout?
Literally actually no, I was gonna say Ramos, but actually I think it was Salah's. I think Salah's penalty was incredible.
You know what? Mute yourself again. Shut up. I hate you.
I'm going.
The answer was Vitinha.
I was really about to say Vitinha. The stones on him to do that.
Right, because you know what it reminded me of?
It was a terrible penalty.
No, it was an excellent penalty because it set the tone. It reminded me so much of Pirlo making Joe Hart look like a fucking idiot. Like, he walked up to Alisson and put that shit right beside him, and one of the best goalkeepers in the world couldn't do anything about it. Then he did a fist pump and boosted up his ultras, and the cop hand was way the fuck back there, powerless, about to go home. I'll stop there because that was going to be mad editable. But I just thought it was cool as shit that, he ran like a beast all game, then did that. I feel like once that went in, they were not losing after that. They weren't losing,
And to quote the great Tosin, walk home now, you pricks.
Lads, it just occurred to me that I haven't really taken the time to look at the fixtures this weekend because I thought it was international break.
Oh.
But there's one more round of games before we go on international break. So let's do a speed run of the games we think people should take a look at over the weekend.
Well, I'll give you.
Go on, coach. Unmute yourself.
Speaking of PSG, Le Classique is this weekend.
There you go. So PSG Marseille.
So definitely watch that. And then you've got you got a London derby, Arsenal, Chelsea as well. Yeah.
City, right?
Wait. Have they? Is it Atleti? Aren't Atleti playing someone big this weekend as
They
well?
are.
Hey man, look it up like you looked up the rest of this shit, nigga.
No, this is off the top of my head. Are they playing Barca?
I believe they are, but also City and Brighton are playing.
I am looking forward to that because Carlos Baleba does not like bald men.
Yeah.
And the last time these teams met, he came off the bench and bullied the hell out of City. So I'm looking forward to that. That's definitely on my watch list this weekend.
Villarreal plays Real Madrid.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Let's
go Madrid Barcelona.
Yep.
That happens this weekend.
Yep.
Which was why, to go back to the first game we talked about, Simeone, after the loss, was trying to get the crowd to sustain their energy and keep their chins up and all that. Because for him, the season is far from over. They can still win the league, but the Champions League is over for them.
We do have a bunch of very tasty games in Italy. We have Milan Como on Saturday, Fiorentina Juventus on Sunday, Atalanta and Inter on Sunday as well.
Atalanta and Inter is probably the biggest game of the weekend anywhere,
Yep.
I would say. Well, it's neck and neck with Atleti and Barca. Let's say that, So.
We also have a relegation battle. If you guys are interested, Man United and
No, we don't care about losers. No, don't do that. Don't do that. We don't do that here. Come on now, like relegation battle.
Leipzig and Dortmund play on Saturday. Stuttgart and Leverkusen on Sunday.
Good ties this weekend, man. We're gonna go into international break like eating real good. Just. As they say, make sure your club is in the crisis team because it's going to be a long break for you if y'all motherfuckers lose. In any event, folks, I think that should be enough from us. Anything else for the people?
Nigeria plays. And
Peace.
But yeah.
All right, then. Peace it is.
Peace.
Hey, folks, this is Deen from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.